All right.
It is Wednesday morning. It's Brenden. Man, I'm telling you what, I like that
Right, I was
countdown.
like, calm you down. Everyone calm. So 30 seconds of Zen.
Namaste.
Mindfulness.
Namaste.
Namaste. I'm ready
right.
to talk SEC sports with Rob.
I'm ready. And look, last night, how many close games can you ask for in one night? Kentucky, Mississippi State. Kentucky gets that win at the last second, literally, from Shepherd. We talked about him yesterday. And Mississippi State's playing some good basketball.
I'm just going to take Kentucky and to win it all, please, Pat. I just feel like it's just a weird year, and they're going to just come and do that Kentucky thing.
Well, it's happening. I mean, they do it in the tournament a lot. And you know that Nashville will be Catville. It's going to be insane up there. Also, LSU gets another 3 of their last 3 wins, all by 1 point. Hey, Doug Dean's going to join us today from Birmingham. We'll be talking about that matchup tonight. Thompson Bowling Arena, Auburn at Tennessee. Going to be a big one. All right, number 4, Tennessee. Then you've got, after that, Florida. Dudley Dawson, Hogville.net's going to check in with us. And they lost a close one. I tell you what, just erase this basketball season. I know they wish they could, and start looking toward next year. And we'll talk with Dudley Dawson about everything in Fayetteville. And then Vince Ferrara, the sports animal in Knoxville, he's going to talk about Tennessee. Look, Rick Barnes, native of Hickory, North Carolina. Just go I-40 about 3 hours east, and there is Hickory, North Carolina. He's been around a while, been to 1 Final Four. Is this the team to do it? We're going to find out. Get your pen, get your paper handy, smash the subscribe button, and Brenden will tell you, allow notifications.
Turn on your notifications for YouTube on your phone. Just go to your settings, and you probably got an iPhone. Hit notifications, look for YouTube, select on. You'll get all the notifications, and the people that you subscribe to go live like us. And make sure you hit the subscribe button. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. That's it.
Absolutely. Not much you can get for free that doesn't cost you later, but this does. This is value. We'll be right back. Hang in there.
Sidelines with Rob Brown. Talk sporty to me.
All right, Rob Brown here. And Brenden, Doug is sending me something saying their connection's breaking up maybe on our end. I hope that is not the case, but let's just.
I think we're good now. We're going to bring
Okay. Yeah. Doug Dean in Birmingham. Sounds good. Doug, man, I like to let you roll because this is a structured writer, Brenden. That's what I love growing up in the house of a writer. You know what I'm talking about. But, Doug, big one tonight in Knoxville, and I'm handing the ball off to you. I'm going to engage you. I'm engaging you. Welcome to Sidelines, but I'm fired up about this game. I wish I was in Knoxville.
Golly, this time of year, isn't it fantastic? You got – I don't know about Memphis. I'm sure you went through the same thing. Where are you, Brenden? Down in Florida, Gainesville?
Yeah, I'm in Ocala. Gainesville, yeah.
Cool. And, of course, it's rarely cold down there. But we got that. We got the fooler the last couple of weeks. It was warm in the 60s. And the rain and cold comes back the next few days, which I fully expected. Here's my question du jour. And Rick Barnes, if you're tuned in, or maybe it's more like Commissioner Sankey. Shouldn't there be an investigation of Santiago Vescovi's eligibility? Is it just me? It feels like the guy 10 years.
He has.
He just celebrated by his 50th with me. Actually, it's 50.
I love the guy's game. He's got a lot of style. I think he's doing well in the dating life if you follow the social media. But the reason I wanted to mention Vescovi, this is a pretty veteran team. Ziegler and Rick Barnes has put together one heck of a team. But you know what? They sit with the same exact record as Bruce Pearl's curious 2023-24 Auburn basketball team, which, depending on which game you tuned in on, guys, you could conclude, you could extrapolate, and fans, as I've talked about, who still experience basketball, Rob, like it were football, where if you lose 2 games, it's time to the sky's falling. But if you tuned in for the home stand against Kentucky, in which did her job defensively, hold them to 70, but couldn't hit a basket to save her life, and then Williams goes out injured, then you would extrapolate that Auburn will be lucky to get out of the first round in March Madness. Yeah. But if you just wait a week, get Wednesday to rest up, 7 days to rest up, what a difference that makes. Then you could conclude after that Georgia game, in which Auburn completely disassembled Georgia. Georgia, to their credit, they got it within 3 points for a 4-minute stretch. And then this Auburn team found their shot. Aiden Holloway came alive. And here's a stat. If you want to be rosy, and why not this time of year, no matter who your team is, even if you're on the bubble, you got a chance. All you got to do is make the field, and weird things can happen. Ask Florida Atlantic a year ago. Mm-hmm. But Chad Baker-Mazara, or Bacon Lasagna if you prefer, is now shooting 47% from three-point range in SEC play. That ranks CBM third in the conference. That was sneaky good, wasn't it? And Jalen could play tonight, I think more likely this Saturday, from having talked to one of the Bruce Pearl's assistant coaches who will remain nameless. But Williams is also shooting above 40% on three-point shots. Now, what was the last time, Rob, trick question, that Bruce Pearl had that happen with a pair of teammates?
2019, it would have to be Bryce Brown and Jared Harper.
Samir Dowdy and Bryce Brown.
Okay.
And Jared was a sneaky good three-point shooter. He must have just been barely below 40% that year. But Bruce has said, and it's true, the story with that 2019 magical run, we sucked in January. Go to Kentucky, got run out of the arena. It happens. Alabama last Saturday. 117 rung up on a really good Alabama team. But following that one, Auburn goes on the road. Notice the parallels here. Goes on the road to Georgia, gets a win, and then they proceed to reel off, was it 12 straight wins, taking them all the way to the Final Four.
Yep.
And they did it on the strength of getting really hot from the three-point arc. So here is hoping. Oh, and by the way, another quick data point, shout out to Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer. Great subscription for those interested. In that Georgia game last Saturday, Auburn's offensive efficiency, 143.4. That's the fifth best mark for the program in a single game since 1999. So Auburn has been playing defense all year long. That seems to be reliable. Now the question is, was that an anomaly last Saturday, or can this Auburn team stay fairly hot shooting? And if they do, especially the emergence of Baker-Mazara and Chaney Johnson and Aiden Holloway finding a shot, oh my goodness, this could be a dangerous team with 4 teams. I think 4, maybe 5, more likely 4 teams vying for the SEC regular season, with a big one tonight in Knoxville.
No, I agree with what you said. And I go back to that 2019 team. People wrote Auburn off after the loss in Lexington. I think they lost by 27.
Our own fans
ugly. Yeah. And the one thing that I've learned, and since I've met you 4 years ago, you started coming on this show, I'd always read the dose. There are not many people that can do it besides my parents and all to calm me down. No matter what happens with what's going on, you have that effect because you do the research and you back it up with the statistics. And I go back to the comparisons 2019 and this team. Bruce Pearl's teams are relentless. That's what you notice about them. And they've got that next man up mentality. Expand on that, because when Jalen Williams went down, everybody was terrified. We're all suddenly doctors, ACL, MCL, whatever. But that team just gets closer. This is as close a team as I can ever remember at Auburn.
I think so. And, it's any coach who's been around who has a little gray hair and a paunch will tell you, if he's got any humility, that, man, if it were just formulaic, if you could just give a few talks, show a few motivational videos, bring in a few speakers, challenge seniors to be team leaders, and it just magically they all love each other and play for unselfishly, then a lot of coaches would still be coaching and not, on ESPN or coaching at lesser programs. It's difficult to pull off, and it probably happens organically within the team. But to Bruce's credit and his staff, going back preseason, back last summer and fall, they preached about, look, here's what we're going to do this year. It may not work, but we intend to play 10 or 11 guys all the time. You're not going to get the minutes to put up NBA lottery numbers like you might have dreamed about. But what you might consider is that if you're winning a lot of games, there is the fun. So I think there's three things. You mentioned that one, and I'm deliberately being rosy about Auburn. I'm well aware, my feet are grounded, Rob and Brenden, that Auburn absolutely could get sent home, most likely the second round. I'm not looking past the round one opponent, but if Auburn's a 4 seed, which is where they would be right now, they're almost certainly going to get a neutral court against a team that's beatable.
Yeah.
If a shocker happens, well, we shouldn't be surprised. It's March Madness. So I realize Auburn, almost every team in the field could go in the second round, go home in the second round. But if you want to look at teams to consider being high on, very few teams right now, I think only 5 of them are top 15 in both offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency. You add to that, if Williams comes back and he's 100% recovering from that knee sprain, and I anticipate he will, then I think Auburn's depth and the way they're starting to shoot and the way they've always played defense, they're a team that I would really have to think long and hard about not at least having a run to Sweet 16. And if we're honest, you get to Sweet 16, you need to run your bracket again. It just depends on who's getting hot and what the matchups are at that point.
Yeah, the 3-point shooting, if you're looking at the stats of Chad Baker Mazzara, over 40%, you got to be at least above 35 as a team, I think, for Auburn to win tonight at Tennessee. And I look around the SEC, it's a logjam. Tennessee and Alabama, I mean, all you can do is be myopically focused on yourself, because you start worrying about what other schools are doing, it'll affect you. Tennessee and Alabama play each other Saturday in Tuscaloosa. First time ever ESPN Game Day going there. Then I look at South Carolina, Kentucky, Florida, the Gators. That's another team. Most people think, Doug, there's 3 or 4 SEC teams and maybe a couple that could go to the Final Four. And you got to be in those stats, the defensive and offensive stats. Let's talk about that with Auburn.
Yeah, I don't want to be the stat nerd guy the entire show, but
it matters.
Yeah, let's talk briefly about defense. In that Georgia game, the defense, and again, a tip of the hat to Justin Ferguson for some of this data, but Auburn made sure Georgia never got anywhere in the first half. Georgia had jumped out to huge leads at home against both Alabama and Tennessee. Those leads didn't hold up, which is, Coach White is building. I like what he's doing there. Needs to go get more players, but you can do that. As we've seen with what Rick Barnes did, bringing in someone we had never heard of, Dalton Connect, who was born in Fargo, North Dakota, and was unheard of until 2023 when he kind of went off as a senior at Northern Colorado, who plays in an arena with capacity to 2,900. But even last year, Connect was, if I'm pronouncing that right, what a name, you connect on shots. And all of a sudden he shows up at Tennessee and he's rung up 30 and 39 in a couple of games. and he's going to go high as a lottery pick. So, but Auburn defended the heck out of Georgia. Georgia missed after hitting its first 4 shots. Georgia missed 9 of its next 11, and so they go into halftime having shot 11 of 27, and get this, only 1 of 8 or 12% from outside the arc. So this Auburn team, when they want to, and their hair is on fire, and it was Saturday, especially KD Johnson. He had a bad first half, but he still played defense all game. This team can defend, and there's only 1 or 2 teams that Tennessee's played whose calling card is defense to the degree Bruce Pearl's team plays it.
Well, defense, you're right. I like what you said about Auburn didn't allow Georgia to get anywhere. You can't let teams that you're better than, at least on paper, and you know you're better, you can't let them feel like they belong. That's where teams get in trouble. I don't like the term upset. I think throw that one out the window. It's how do you match up on game day. Looking at Tennessee, their starting 5 versus Auburn, that's one thing. But you got to look at the depth on the bench. There are nights when Dalton Knecht has 31 points and the rest of his teammates have 28, like when they lost at home 63-59 to South Carolina. Then there are games when his teammates support him. What's going to be Auburn's plan of attack that you think gives them the best chance to win tonight?
Well, it was funny. Jock's 94.5, Cole Kubel, who will be the first to tell you he's a football guy, but he, any of us can research and ask basketball questions. And he made the mistake of asking Bruce Pearl what he would do to slow down Tennessee's offensive juggernaut. And Bruce said, "I'm not going to answer that question about our game plan."
Yeah.
You can bet that Bruce Pearl, this game's personal for Bruce. I don't think he feels any real bitterness. That was so long ago he left Tennessee under a ridiculous cause for having a barbecue party. But and for shading the truth about who attended the barbecue party. But doesn't that pale in comparison to a lot of what goes on in recruiting? So I think it's personal for Bruce. There will be a scout that is not what Tennessee's altogether expecting, but obviously it's got to include what Auburn has been pretty good at, which is when they run into 3-point shooting teams, trying to run them off of the 3-point line, get up there in their face, defend them out past the come off of screens well and have a plan for that. But they've got shooters like Vescovi and Knecht and several others who are a problem, and they're going to score some threes. You just can't let them. This might be one of those games. I think the over/under is 152. So Vegas sees it in the 70s, low 80s. This might be one of those. Both teams play great defense, and the first team to about 82 wins the game. Remember, last year at Knoxville, it was a damn rock fight with Tennessee winning 46-43, which is normally a halftime score for both of these teams.
Exactly. And so I think people, their expectations are it might be high scoring. It's just Dalton Knecht. Auburn will have a plan for him. And again, Bruce Pearl, he's not going to say it on TV. But as far as Tennessee goes, can you imagine today something like a barbecue party happening?
Yeah. And Rob, let me circle back to make a point, connect it with tonight's Auburn-Tennessee game. I hold that it's ipso facto, forgive the Latin, truth that if referees send one team to the line 31 times and their opponent, who happens to be the visitor, Auburn in this case, send Georgia to the line 30 times, then they're automatically activist referees. Or you got Pat Adams, who just can't resist seeing himself on TV. Or there's this weird psychology that they seem predisposed to want to help the team that's way behind. They want to keep the game interesting, keep the game close. So, some of those fouls were Auburn's problem, as Tennessee was driving it in the lane to try to get fouls. But some of them were absurd, where the Georgia player on offense takes 4 or 5 steps, elbows the Auburn defender in the jaw, and it's a foul on Auburn. So
Yeah.
if you get this referee who are affected by a very rabid Thompson Bowling crowd tonight, then, and you usually do get that with the home team. I don't think it's a conspiracy against Auburn. It's sort of bad refereeing that's spread around pretty equally. Then that could be one of the key differences in Tennessee pulling away and winning tonight, which for Auburn won't be the worst thing in the world. That'll be a high quality, a quad one loss, especially if you keep it close. And the next three games that to finish the season are on paper very winnable for Auburn.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And Doug, stay on if you can. Dudley Dawson, Hogville.net's going to come on. And then after that, Vince Ferrara from the Sports Animal in Knoxville. And since we're going to these 1 hour roughly shows, we're switching to, and then we'll go do longer stuff more in football and different times. But love having this round table like we'd like to do on Savant Saturday with you and the other guests, because the interaction with Dudley Dawson and y'all really know what you're talking about. So Dudley, Hogville.net, looks like he's back up in the Appalachian State background. But by the way, when we were on the way to Charlotte a couple of weeks ago, we got off at the exit for Appalachian State University, and I said, let's go check it out. And it was like 32 or 42 miles, and I was trying to get to Charlotte, but I'm going to go next time and see it. But how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's an awesome baseball field. You know how I like it in my Pebble Beach one. Try to alternate them a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. Watched that game last night, Vanderbilt and Arkansas, and we're talking with Doug Dean about that Auburn-Tennessee matchup. Usually Arkansas this time of year is in the chase. Let's talk about the latest news from Fayetteville.
Well, might have been if they would have continued to play like they started the game, but obviously had a stretch there. I think they made 7 field goals the first 8 minutes, and then 8 field goals the next 30 minutes. That is just unbelievable. And, they had a kid score 42 one game, scored 36 last night, still wasn't enough to get them to the finish line. It's where they are. They are what their record indicates they are. They had a little momentum there. If they could have beat Vanderbilt, then maybe you're, looking at one of these late season runs that they're used to. But that's kind of puts a stick in it. You've got pretty tough games coming up: Kentucky, Tennessee, and Alabama. It seems like a pretty tough run there. So I don't know how much tread they're going to get here down at the end, but. It is what it is. They are what the record indicated they are.
Yeah. Doug?
Dudley, Doug Dean, good to see you on before I cut out. The thing is that for Hog fans, the foundation is super deep and strong with Arkansas basketball. The tradition is there, facilities. So the cool thing about, the hopeful thing about basketball is you can have a stinker year, and most of our programs have had those. And it's a pretty short path with the transfer portal and great recruiting, especially if you're willing to spend a little NIL money. You can be back there in a New York minute, not a 2 or 3 year reclamation project. Do you agree, Dudley?
Yeah, and it's especially with the way things are these days. There are 4 or 5 guys that could come back that I think they will bring back. And then he'll fill in with the high school. He's got 2 high school signees, and then he'll go to the portal again. And he did pretty good in the portal up until this year, as I've said, especially after watching Killers of the Flower Moon. The wife and I are on an Oscar movie run right now before it gets over. But there's not enough. There's too many Chiefs and not enough Indians around here right now in Arkansas. Too many guys looking to score, not enough guys looking to make it easier for the other player to score, and I think that's been a big deal. And they had played off defense better the last few games, but last night it was the Olay thing again.
Yeah, and I think 42 points, and then last night you have 36. That's Tennessee's got that with Dalton Connect, but when he gets support, they're really good.
That kid, Khalif Battle, started out the year really good, and then they're just I don't know. He didn't play minutes, and when he played, he didn't play well. Those 2 games have raised his average to like 9 points a game. Think about that. Scored 78 points the last 2 games to raise his average to like 9 points.
Oh, where's he been all year, Doug?
Good question. It really is.
I mean, it's just unreal, and it's just this whole year has been a head scratcher, and I know that people are excited about kind of passing the torch on to baseball, which is obviously number 2 to number 5 in the country, depending on which poll you use. I think most Razorback fans use whichever one they're highest in. They don't stay consistent on it. I'm a D1 baseball guy, so I use theirs all the time. But baseball looks like it's going to be really good. Had 3 starters over the weekend. Unbelievable starting pitching. 17 innings, no runs, 3 hits, and 33 strikeouts among their 3 starters. I mean, that's going to carry them. They haven't hit the ball well until yesterday when they played Grambling, and everybody and there was a fight at the bat rack, as they say. Because everybody was getting base hits yesterday, and that's probably what they needed, some confidence against an overmatched foe.
Yeah, I mean, Doug, this time of year, like Dudley's saying, you got basketball, unbelievable. We're going into the stretch run, the conference tournaments, March Madness. Spring practice is starting, and you said that's for next time. But it's an incredible time of the year, and you look at college baseball's popularity. It just keeps getting bigger every year. That's just how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the, I would call it beautiful turmoil and disruption and change unfolding before our eyes. As we have texted back and forth about, Rob, the apparently accelerated end, it sure looks like, to what we've known as the NCAA, which for my money couldn't happen fast enough. It's not that I want no governance. We're getting a taste of what complete chaos feels like, and there are problems with it. But NCAA, when they start going after programs over BS, like how you operated NIL, or the lately just about having cookie cakes sent to players' rooms on official visits, that's important, like we care about it. Then they need to go, and we need the powers that be, which will be the 4, not 5, 4 major conferences that have all the power and TV money. We'll get in a room and decide what kind of council. I don't like the idea of a single commissioner, because I keep hearing Nick Saban's name. I'm paranoid by nature, so I think he's got too many biases because of where he's coached at 2 programs. But maybe it's a council of 3 or 4 revered former commissioners, so we start getting that straight. Meanwhile, the SEC is dominant in football until Michigan came along. ACC looks like the second best. They will have the second most teams invited to March Madness, in all likelihood. We know how they play baseball in the last 10, 15 years. So what a great time to be alive, and yet what a time in which we need leadership, vision, and some managerial common sense brought, especially to the game of college football.
Let's just sum it up. The NCAA is now Dean Stratton, and the schools are Blutarski. They're going to do whatever they want to anyway.
Yeah. And I'm with Doug. I like what Doug said. Doug, thank you so much, man. Look forward to having you back on again as soon as possible. I'll say this. Doug's right. You don't want Commissioner Gordon in Gotham, but 3 or 4 very smart people in that room that are driven, that have successful resumes, that would do it. But the NCAA is, as my friend Jason Perry said the other day, tripping over a dollar to save a penny. They've lost their way, and they're wasting money and effort on a lot of stuff that is just completely irrelevant. So, and I think college fans. I listened to a podcast last night with Terry Henley, former Auburn player, just talking about his love for his teammates and his love of playing the game. It wasn't about the money or anything. We all know money's important, but it is refreshing when you see in college these kids today that still love their school. Dudley, that's my question for you. are the fans, are you getting to the point where, well, you're not a fan, you're a journalist, but I think fans are getting really angry with their teams, and they have little to no patience with them because they don't feel like that these players really care about anything other than getting some NIL money. And if they don't get what they want, they're going to leave.
Yeah, we, on Hogville.net, we have message boards, and obviously they have plenty of opinions. The site has always been a barometer of what Arkansas fans are thinking, and clearly right now, the NIL, especially the transfer portal, has really taken some of the luster out of the college game for the fans. It used to be that every kid that came here, at least whether they did or not, the narrative was that they were playing for the school, they were playing for the state, and now they're playing for themselves, which has probably been a combination of it, the whole time. But because it's free agency in college athletics now, just like it is in the pros, I think there's certainly fans, and I've seen many comments about how I'm just going to not go anymore. That happens also when your football team's losing.
Yeah.
When your basketball team's losing. The crowd last night at the basketball game was not worthy of, I guess I should say it was worthy of the records of the teams, but not worthy of the program.
People say that.
It is just one of those things that, they better do something to make it a better trip to a game, or they're going to lose them even more because of the narcissism, I guess that would be the thing that, is going on there now.
I think, and I think Brenden was going to say something, but someone texted in one of my group texts yesterday to me about travel league baseball and all this other crap. It's turned these kids into, I think, just a bunch of narcissists. And then you've got all the Karens out there and these monsters that my kid's the only kid, and it's making everybody only care about themselves. I listened to Terry Henley on that podcast talking about his late teammate, great wide receiver Terry Beasley, who passed away a couple of weeks ago. I said over the last 35 or 40 years, he lost count of how many times he was in the hospital to visit him and thought that'd be the last time he ever saw him. He goes, that guy fought like hell. He had so many concussions from his days playing for Auburn in the 49ers. But he said, you got to love a teammate that gets knocked out in the Alabama game and goes over, he's out cold, gets the smelling salts under his nose and comes back in and helps Auburn beat Alabama 33-28. That kind of a teammate, just that loved his team and loved his school that much. If we don't get that through to these kids today, not only are they going to lose fans, they're not going to be really welcomed back with open arms on campus. Dudley, a lot of Razorbacks. A lot of them that played there. I watched Joe Klein the other night calling a basketball game. I love that guy. I've had him on the show a couple of times. I know you know him well. The man from Slater, Missouri. He's objective. He's a great pro, but he loves Arkansas. Pat Bradley. I don't know him, but the shooter. I mean, he's so passionate about what he does. Those are the guys that people are not going to follow these people.
Yeah, and here's the problem I see now. I think it kind of encapsulates it all. Back in the day, you would do anything for a teammate. You mentioned Joe Klein. Jimmy Dykes was on the same basketball team where I was a manager. Darrell Walker, who's the coach at Little Rock. I mean, they would do anything for a teammate. Now, I really believe that there are players, be it in basketball, baseball, or football, here at the University of Arkansas, who probably determine how hard they're going to block for a teammate, depending on how much money they get compared to how much money the other gets in the NIL. I mean, it's sad to say that, and I hate to, but I truly believe that's true. After I watch games and I go back and watch on tape thinking, why was it, number 2 tailback, had two backs in the game, why was number 2 tailback blocking there for the number 1, or, that sort of thing. And we also have this thing now where everybody, if they're slightly injured. There's being hurt and there's being injured.
Yeah.
They all take their rest and get ready for the NBA draft or the NFL, just different things. It's very disheartening. As I joke all the time, and my wife's about to get on me because I'm gonna say this. I'm at the end of a very mediocre career. Where I am glad that the college game that I have covered most of my life was like it was for the vast majority of my writing tenure. But now I just don't know if I would be able to put up with this for another 20 years, the way it's going.
Yeah. Well, the free market's going to fix it. But I'll tell you, when I was in high school, there was a walk-on linebacker at Auburn named Danny Skutak. And Auburn was playing North Carolina State 1979. He broke his tibia or his fibula, and played the whole second half with a broken leg. And Auburn won the game pretty convincingly. And he was Sports Illustrated's National Defensive Player of the Week. And when Pat Dye took over, he played for him for 1 year. He was the toughest. You talk about a teammate. He later went on to do the cage fighting and the tough man. He won the tough man competition many times. I'm just saying, that's who you're going to remember for your teammates. These little candy asses that are out there today, that they're always injured. And they're always wearing all these patches all over their arms and wanting you to know that they're injured or whatever. Suck it up and play. Dudley?
I am all about medical stuff.
I am too.
You need to do that. However, I've said it before, and I got in trouble for saying it on the radio one time because somebody didn't listen to me or I didn't enunciate very well. But I hate the wussification. That's with the W.
Yep.
The wussification of college athletics.
Yeah. But that's exactly my point. Suck it up, fight through it, and because you're gonna have to do that when you get a job. If you get a job, I'm gonna tell you, a lot of these people are gonna be unemployable outside of either politics or athletics. So when you're 25, if you hadn't got your degree and you don't have a skill set, you are in serious split. And you're right. The continued attempted emasculation of the male culture, it's a joke. And I'm telling you, sports is where you're seeing this happen. These narcissistic me kids. Find me the teammates. Dudley, fight breaks out. And you're seriously outmanned. You're still going to fight with your teammates. You need to teach that to the kids on your team and quit soft pedaling and not worry about offending people. Free speech. Censoring people is why we have this problem. Vince Ferrara, the sports animal in Knoxville, is live. Again, it looks like he's in Palm Springs at the resort. But, hey, big one tonight. We're talking about Auburn and Tennessee. That's the big one. But this SEC basketball race isn't going to be over regardless after tonight, because Tennessee's then got to go down and play at Alabama Saturday, where they're going to have ESPN Game Day for the first time ever. But on the banks of the Tennessee River tonight, 21,000 plus are going to be going crazy. What's going to happen? Get your crystal ball out and tell us.
Well, plus Bruce Pearl's in the house, and he is always ultra fired up to face his former team. And then, look, the fan base is split on him still to this day. Some still swear by him and love him and would take him today, believe it or not. Others are like, well, if we had an opening, if Coach Barnes retired, and then others are like, no, I'm done with it. Congrats that he's having success at Auburn. We're good. We love Coach Barnes. So that there's a differing of opinions on Bruce Pearl, but it will be volatile and loud tonight at Food City Center. And look, Auburn has had success under Bruce Pearl against Tennessee. He's won 7 of the last 9 against Rick Barnes in Tennessee. So they will be up for it. And this game, you mentioned the rest of the week with what Tennessee has at Alabama. Tennessee has by far, out of any of those contenders to win the East, the toughest schedule remaining. They have 4 quad 1 teams left on their schedule, 4 quad 1 games, I should say. All of them are ranked in the top 20. Tennessee, only once in their history have they played 3 straight games against top 20 teams. 4 straight games against top 20 teams. That was back in 2004. That's it. They weren't very good back then. They weren't ranked, so they lost their first 3, but this is a much different story. Auburn is only 2-6 against quad 1 teams this year. Yeah. So this will also be the toughest game and the best team that they would have played. Pearl said this week, I've said it all year, I think Tennessee is the best team. So that's going to be typical coach compliments, but I don't disagree with him there. And look, Auburn has the easiest schedule after they get done with Tennessee out of anyone remaining. So if Auburn was to win this game and have the head-to-head tiebreaker straight up over Tennessee, if it comes down to those two, and they have the easiest schedule while Tennessee still has to deal with 3 more quad 1 games, that's the leader in the clubhouse in Auburn if they were to pull this upset and win tonight. So they are going to be plenty motivated and plenty capable coming in to Knoxville tonight.
Yeah. Dudley? Is Dudley muted?
Two really great basketball teams. As we talked about it a little bit last week, I think there are 4 or 5 teams that can make a run to the Final Four, and certainly those are 2 of them. It is one of those things that Bruce Pearl is an electric figure. He certainly has done plenty of things on the court and off the court to invite that celebrity, to invite that controversy. I can't wait to watch the game tonight. I'll have it on TV. It's that I'm guessing, since I'm not a bettor, but I'm guessing the way to lose money really quick would be to think that since Tennessee's at home, that Tennessee's definitely going to win, which I think is going to happen. That's why I don't bet, among many reasons, because you just never know what's going to happen that night. And we've seen both of these teams play up to their capability this year, and also this season play down. And for the most part, they've been consistent. But I just, you just don't know what's going to happen tonight. And a lot of it relies on kids and if they hit their first shot.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Rob. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The start is going to be big in this game because both of these 2 teams are very good front runners. They like to boss the game. Auburn loves to feed off of making the home crowd silent, and they come in there as sort of these bullies. And Tennessee has been the more physical team, and when they're forcing you to play uphill against them, they make it very difficult with the way they've improved. There's several interesting things, but one development in this game is the battle of the bigs with Janai Broome, who is one of the best shot blockers, rebounders, and scorers in the league, against Jonas Adu, who's one of the most improved players in the league. And when he goes off. I mean, double digits. He's a guy that can put in 25 and 12 on you, had a double-double against A&M in that blowout. But another thing they're doing now that they did to turn around the Missouri game is Tennessee is playing with a big lineup with their rebounding force, Tobe Awaka. They're playing Awaka and Adu together now with a big lineup. Barnes hadn't really done that much until that second half of the Mizzou game. It worked against A&M as well. Buzz Williams was really raving about how difficult that makes things on opponents within that big lineup. And if Broome is getting some early rebounds against Tennessee, you're probably going to see even more minutes with that big lineup. So Tennessee fans are like, well, we don't want to face a team that has a really good big or post player in the NCAA tournament. Well, they haven't faced one in a while, but since the last one they faced in Tolu Smith at Mississippi State, Adu is much better, Awaka is much better, and they're playing them together. So we'll see how Tennessee now handles an outstanding post-opposing player in Broome and see if they're different against a top post player or if they still have work to do there.
Yeah. And I don't know.
I think one of the biggest things is we see these teams, once they fall behind, they play with a sense of urgency and they look much better. The team that plays with a sense of urgency from the first tip. I mean, when you're getting ready to go there, that needs to be the case. And I know that's what coaches work and build toward. But it really is in a big game like this. You have to go out and play with that sense of urgency right away.
Yeah, I'm not sure who this is for. And you are the same guy who suggests that fans should be penalized for running on the court for loving their team enough to be happy after a victory. Double standard. I don't know if that was for me or whatever. All I've said about running on the court is what you could do is give a 2-minute cool off and let the opposing team get off the court. But that is part of college basketball. So I don't know if that was directed toward me. I didn't say you should be penalized. That's part of college basketball. I will say this: the SEC basketball race this year. If Tennessee wins tonight against Auburn, I don't know if they storm the court or not. Auburn's not ranked in the top 10. I mean, they're not going to do it. And I was listening. This has become this national topic du jour until the next topic du jour comes along. I think we're overdoing it. Just what somebody stepped on a guy's foot for Duke the other day or something. It's not like that we should shut basketball down. I mean, just wait a minute and just be careful. Is all I'm.
Well, I can tell you, I've been in that scrum many a time because I'm always running on the field to go get coach like congrats shots, right? And the media member, look, it's chaos. I mean, there's no doubt that it's already chaos with the media going in on to try to get the picks and the shots, and when you add all those other people, it's a lot. I mean, if you're a little, claustrophobic, it's not very comfortable. So I guess I get the point because it can't be safe because everything always seems to get more, right? More extreme, bigger, and they're kids. So it's like now that we're bringing it all up, now it's going to be like, okay, well, who's going to go big? You know what I mean? I just feel like we're inciting a riot here of some sort.
Yeah. I don't think they should ban it. I think we've got to have a little bit more guidelines. I also am smart enough to know that if a dude from Slippery Rock got hurt, it wouldn't be a national story. But if a dude from Duke gets hurt, then it's going to be out there. And Caitlin Clark, earlier this year, there's got to be some protection there. But I just don't know how you do it. And I definitely am not against the fans rushing the court. What I am is if you rush in the court, if you just beat a team that has 11-12 record or something like that, we've got to have some logic to this thing. When they beat when Arkansas beat number 1 Auburn, I think that was okay. When they beat Duke, I think that was okay. But Arkansas,
they just need to have like a red light, green light. So if you can go, then you can go.
I'll make that
no go. Simon says no go.
They can do those in-game polls. Is this, and everybody can vote on their phone? Is this a stormable game or not? If the crowd votes, then you can go.
Well, it's a lottery. Let's just make it a lottery. If you get a green light on your phone, then
Vince, you could. I think that is a great idea. Red light, yellow light, green light. Something like that. I think that'd be pretty
like Squid Game. Squid Game. That would be fun. The Squid Game charging the court.
That's a reality show.
Look, kids want to do it, and I've heard kids talk about it, like friends of family saying, it sucks that I missed the game because we rushed the court and I've been waiting to do it. So I've had this theory before. Kids do it because they want to be able to document it on social media and say that they were out there. So that's the incentive. It's not, oh my God, we accomplished this. I bet if you quizzed a bunch of people that ran on the court, they couldn't tell you squat about the teams, what happened, why they won. They just know they're allowed to run out on the court, and that's it. And moving on. So real quick on this, I think I have a first of all, if you do the limit, just wait 30 seconds, wait 2 minutes. I heard all that stuff. If you have the ability to hold them back for 30 seconds or 2 minutes, then why would you just not let them go on the court to begin with? Like the point is the immediacy of the reaction to it.
Yeah.
So 30 seconds later, you totally lose that. That's not the spontaneity, the passion. Then it's a designed, hey, everyone, you get a tour of the basketball court now, after 30 seconds.
You're right.
So, and plus, I don't think they could execute that either. Their player, how are you going to get everyone off the court? It's like everyone, you just go out this gate. Well, there's players spread out all over the place. And I don't have the solution, but I don't see that being one. I also have a theory on why this is happening more, because Dudley brought up a great point. And now they're doing it against when you beat the number 15 team. There's been favorites, home favorites that have rushed the court just because of who they beat, even though they were expected to. And I think it's because since COVID, remember when we got the fans back, it was a fan empowerment movement. As fans come back, we need to do everything for the fans. The fans now are of greater importance. We need to help them with fan experience. What can we do for that? And I think fans have come back and come back in big ways, but come back with more, I'd say, entitlement or feeling that they should be a bigger part of the sports experience. And there's different ways to get there, but I think that's just one way of fans saying, hey, this sports was taken away from me. I'm back and I'm spending my money to be here. I deserve to get more out of that fan experience. And I think that's why you're seeing more and more of this type of stuff with much lower standards than it used to be or should be.
Yeah, to piggyback off of that, you've got since COVID, I think more schools are serving alcohol. Now, I'd like to think for most of my life I've made really good decisions, but some of them haven't been, and they usually had to do with too many Bud Lights.
Yeah.
And I think that is another situation. I mean, if you're going to sell alcohol at the games, and it's a party, well, then at the end of the party, everybody's going to rush the court if you want.
Yeah.
And I don't think they used to do that.
That's a really good point.
Now, I am all for alcohol at games I'm not covering.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're right. And Vince, you really nailed it. And I'm just saying, this is the best discussion about it I've heard. It's because it was a Duke player. Now it's a national issue. That's what it boils down to. We're going to get Duke Vitale from ESPN to come on, and Duke Vitale will tell us it's the worst thing ever. It's coming. Just get ready for the lecture. But Vince is right. And I'm glad Van Duren wrote that comment, because I'm not saying penalize the fans at all. But also use good judgment when you're on the field. Just tell people, say, when storming the court, here's the procedures. That's what you got to do. Just tell them, hey, when you're down there, be careful. But that's what makes college so much fun, is the passion of the fans, Vince. And I know you also can be like LeBron and leave if you're losing. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then whine about everything else. I mean, I'm golly, I didn't want to talk about him. Vince, I know you said you've got to get out here a little bit early today for an appointment, but let people know how they can follow you and keep up with all your great work. You're right. If you can hold them for 30 seconds, then why let them on at all?
Right.
That's just like the Animal House when he's going, no need to panic here. There's nothing going on. Forget about it. About it.
Niedermeyer.
Niedermeyer.
Well, I appreciate it. Always fun discussion with you guys, even if it takes different directions than we anticipate.
No, you're right, though.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you.
You can appreciate it. You can follow me on all the socials. The handle is the same, Vince Sports, VINCE Sports. Tennessee baseball is underway, called 5 home games last week. Tennessee went 5-0, won last night again. So we're going to get to SEC play soon, but you can catch me on the Vol Network. First radio broadcast this Friday with John Wilkerson. He and I host the morning show, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern time. Vol Network pregame interviews and a TV show on the local ABC station on Sunday mornings, and more things that I can't think of right now. But you can find our podcast and everything on our website, 991thesportsanimal.com. You guys are the best. Appreciate you.
I love it. Love having you on the SEC Sideline Sports Network as well. Take care. Look forward to next week's visit, Vince Ferra.
All right. Sounds good. Same here. Thanks, guys.
All right. Hey, and I think this discussion made more sense as we got into it. And that is if you can hold these people off. Dudley, you're right. I mean, I don't. If they're going to serve alcohol, it's coming in there anyway. Well, now now you're able to make money off of it.
There was a story. We didn't run it, but about the baseball. For McKeitham, I always forget the name. McKeitham Stadium for where the Gators play. Yeah, there's like the astronomical cost of alcohol. Like they're not like getting in the game, but they're getting in it like pro teams are getting in the game, where it's like $12 a Bud Light for like a Bud Light, and it's
you might find another beer to drink there, my friend. How about a Hams?
But it's like that, but they'll do the whole bar, like baseball. Yeah. They're a little more sophisticated. So you get the bar with the multiple taps. Like he's right. If you're going to charge that much, and I'm gonna get liquored up at your game, I kind of feel like I have a right to do what I want to do if I'm going to spend that much to be there.
Yeah.
Dudley, I'm 60 now, and so that means 46 years I've been drinking Bud Light. I ain't going to stop because somebody tells me to.
Yeah, exactly. But Bud Light still. What was funny over this year during duck season, one of our members, he goes, "Look, I mean, he's like I am, like he goes, it's a great beer. He goes, I like it. I mean, I love to mess with people about it, but I tell you what, I've found that Modelo is really good beer too. I don't know who makes that, but damn,
the same people.
That's what I figured it was. I thought it was Anheuser or InBev or whatever, but it is a really good beer. We were sitting at a Mexican restaurant in Wynn one time back in January, waiting for an order. Had a couple of frosty Modelos. Man, I mean that rivals Hams beer if you're lucky enough to be able to get some of the finest. Dudley, man, this time of year, we're not even talking about football. That's how the fact that Arkansas is not doing well is as big a story almost as if they were doing well. What do you think? And you always are right. You don't traffic in rumors. Eric Musselman. What's he going to do if 4 or 5 guys come back? And again, with the portal, you can change things, good or bad, real fast. What do you think is going to happen?
Here's the deal. He is, the conference records have never been great. They were 8-10 last year when they went to the, Sweet 16. They weren't great when they went to the Elite 8, but they've always improved at the end of the year. That appeared to be the case up until last night. You cannot lose to Vanderbilt at home. I have great respect for Jerry Stackhouse and their institution, but their basketball team came in here with 7 or 8 wins, and you just cannot let that happen.
Correct.
But you didn't show up with a sense of urgency. You played down to the level, even though your level is not that much higher than Vanderbilt's has been during the season. I do think that, if UCLA came open, something like that, I think Coach Musselman would certainly take a look at it. I think he'd use himself as a California guy. But I also think he is so competitive that he will do everything he can in his power to make sure it doesn't look like this next year. And he will keep the ones that he can, and then he will do his best to try to remold the team again. And I think that it'll end up coming back next year because you can do it so much quicker in basketball. But I wouldn't absolutely bet. I would bet your house on it, but not mine.
Yeah. I one more for you with the football right now. But it's cranking up. Spring practice is starting all over the country in the SEC. Talk about what do you look for? Are they going to open up some practices early on for you to go see the Razorbacks play? I really think if they would do that, that would offset some of the anger the fans have about NIL and the portal, because fans are starting to disconnect from their teams because they don't know them. Expand on that.
Yeah, I think they've always been pretty good under Coach Pittman, allowing us to see whether it's 20 minutes to an hour there early. Once they get in the season, we don't see as much, but you totally understand that. But I do believe you're right that with where the program is right now, you need to sell it with positivity. If you're if you're the school now, if you're a reporter, an objective reporter, you got to see, tell what you say. And I'm telling you right now, my thing is this season is either going to go spectacularly well or it's going to be the biggest cluster you've ever seen in your life. And I don't think there's going to be anything in the middle. Either great or woeful, but nothing in the middle.
Get your popcorn.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you've got so much with the Bobby Petrino alone there with Sam Pittman. That creates a ton of interest. So the crowds will be.
If they get first down, it's going to be Coach Petrino's to credit. If they don't, it's going to be Coach Petrino to blame because Coach Pittman obviously overruled what Coach Petrino wanted to call. Yeah. That's what we're going to be like the whole year.
Yeah, and then it'll be about the offensive line. Why isn't Coach Pittman coaching the offensive line? Look, that's what's so fun about this stuff. There's always drama, but I think the things that we need to be fixing is the portal. There needs to be more accountability. If you don't have accountability, it's a mess, and that's where we are with NIL. I just wonder, and that's why I think it'll fix itself. The guys, the teammates that you have should be close to you for the rest of your life. If you're coming in just getting a little bit of money or a bunch of money, how close are you to them? And then the connection to the fans. I mean, that's a topic that you can talk about every day, but I always believe it's going to work out. Last question, is the NCAA going to make it through the end of this calendar year before they're disbanded? I don't think so.
I think they're going to make it through the end of the year because they can't do anything in a quick manner, but it will end soon.
Yeah. All right. Let them know how they can follow you, and we'll wrap this up. Great show, as always, Dudley. Looking forward to having you back on next week.
Hogville.net is our message board and website. We cover all 19 sports. I'll be at softball, baseball this weekend. Fearless Friday is our high school site. You know how much I love doing the high school stuff. And then Dead Sports is where you can hear about Arthur, the A-Train Dawson, my grandson, St. Louis Cardinals.
I like every week it gets better.
Yeah, and the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, I love it. Hey, listen, Chad House, ECS House Industries in Cherry Valley, Arkansas, sponsors this Razorback Report. Check them out on the web, houseindustriesinc.com. They make the better roller, the pulverizer, the better chopper, and they make the aerators for the catfish farms that you see all over the country, all over the South, all over the world. House Industries, proud to have them as a sponsor. And remember, get on our website. All of our sponsors are there. We're going out to Hewlett and Dunn to see Charles Hall. We're going to be doing a podcast, Dudley. Buddy Martin and I are about Texas coming into the league. What's a Texas cowboy hat versus what people wear in the rest of the South? We're going to get into that. Texas boots. Get them all at hewlettanddunn.com. And the Vitamin Shop. We'll be there Friday morning at 8 o'clock in Oxford, Mississippi. Check them out on the website, 5338 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, Mississippi. And the new one next to Dick's Sporting Goods in Oxford, Mississippi. Live in the greatest country in the history of the world, people. Go out and bless others. We are blessed beyond belief. There are no bad days. Every day is a great day. Brenden, awesome job on here. Thanks so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Dudley. Thanks. Have a good one. All right, Rob. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.
You jumped my shark there. I'm not ready for it.
Sorry about that.
You always go so fast. It's like ride and you're gone. I'm not ready for you. Dudley hasn't said goodbye. No one's having closure. Come on, bro. I feel left. So cold.
Well,
thanks, everybody. We love you. We love you. You know, we really, let's give them some music or something. Like it's.
Well, let me say this. Hit that, smash that subscribe button. Allow notifications. And I like that people can subscribe to the show by clicking on that thing on the screen.
Yeah, I'll bring it back up for you. There you go. Here it is. Subscribe right there. QR code.
There we go. Yeah. And do we know what QR code stands for?
Quick internet reply.
Quick read.
I thought it meant something. I don't know, but that actually works. It's not just a graphic. So if you take your phone out, even if you're on Facebook or whatever, click the QR. It's going to take you right to the subscribe page. It's going to come up with a dialog box. It's going to say, would you like to subscribe? And you just click yes. Super easy. So
yes, sir.
I've made it even easier for you. That's all I've got. Okay, good. Now I feel like we have a little more closure and we can say goodbye to everybody. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Sidelines with Rob Brown. Talk sporty to me.
In a perfect world, you'd set a health goal and results would happen overnight. In this world, the real world, it takes time, dedication, and the right support to achieve your best self. The Vitamin Shop's health enthusiasts are here to make sure you're not wasting a single moment on the wrong supplements. From the highest quality sports nutrition and superfoods to the most sought after trends, you'll find a huge variety of science-backed solutions for every goal. And the people to help guide you along the path to greatness.